Hello, my Spider-Man fans. Finally, we've got an update on Tom Holland's Spider-Man 4. Got some good stuff, got some weird stuff, got some stuff that it's like, all right, let's see how this plays out. So that's what I'll be doing here for you guys, is I'll be going into these new reports that we've been getting the past couple of days on when Spider-Man 4 is looking to begin filming, some of the returning cast members, a possible new director that we're like, I saw it. Are we sure we want to go down that road? Along with my thoughts and theories and, well, just trying to get the bad taste out of Madam Web from our mouth, and hoping Sony is at least saving their best chefs and cooking up a nice stew for Spider-Man 4. Leave me your thoughts down below as well. But first, I want to go ahead and thank sponsor today's video, and that's Jarritos. You guys know around here, I'm extremely grateful and happy to be sponsored by Jarritos. Delivering awesome, great taste in glass bottles. Are made with natural flavors, no high fructose corn syrup. They're easy to find, being sold at your local grocery store. I'll have a link in my description for your nearest Walmart that sells Jarritos. Especially now the summer's coming up and the hot season is a-brewing, and Jarritos is one of those refreshing beverages you gotta have by your side. So please go ahead and purchase you some Jarritos, because supporting them also means you're supporting me. And you know that means a lot to me. Thank you again to Jarritos for sponsoring today's video. Alright, so over the past couple of months, the main thing we've been hearing with Spider-Man 4 is that Sony and Marvel are just not coming to an agreement on what the story should be. We hear that Kevin Feige and Tom Holland really want it to be a grounded street-level story that might feature Daredevil Charlie Cox, have Kingpin as the villain who's also the mayor of New York trying to outlaw vigilantes, while Sony is just trying to recover from their recent sting of flops. We know why you re-released those Spider-Man movies back in theaters, man. You're not slick, Sony, but thank you for letting me see TASM 2 on the big screen again. Yeah, that's right, I like that one. And well, they would prefer to do another multiverse story that includes Tobey and Andrew. Fans are obviously divided on what we want, because how could we say no to Tobey and Andrew, but is that really the thing Spider-Man needs right now after the last movie? And that's all we were pretty much hearing for a while, and it's been dead silence, and now with these new reports, looks like Kevin Feige and Tom Holland might have won. So starting off, the first thing that we got revealed comes from Jeff Snyder, who lets us know that Spider-Man 4 is looking to begin filming this September or October this fall. And yeah, that's one of the things we heard, that Sony is also really wanting to make this movie quick so it can be released next year in 2025. If they actually begin filming September and October, yeah, there's a good chance they could actually release this movie next year. But I'm still gonna place my bets on 2026, because 2025 is already kind of stacked. Along with this, he also reported that Zendaya is expected to return as MJ in Spider-Man 4. I don't know why I'm surprised. There was a part of me that really thought they were going to separate from the MJ storyline, or at least put it to bed for one movie, let, you know, Spider-Man have a complicated relationship with Black Cat, maybe lose himself a little bit. But as all Spider-Man fans know, MJ is sort of endgame for Spider-Man. Of course they gotta end up together. It's just, I just don't know how you retcon the ending from Spider-Man No Way Home in a tasteful way. That was already such a nice, heartbreaking thing. However they go about undoing that spell, her remembering Peter, re-falling in love with him, oh dude, that film is gonna have an immense amount of pressure to pull that off. I'm hoping her role is kind of minimal in this movie and it's just setting it back up, and then they can fully flesh it out in the next Spider-Man movie. And well, even getting on to that, while we've heard what the story might be, a street level Spider-Man story or a multiverse crossover Spider-Man story, we haven't really gotten down to what the theme of the movie will be. What will the arc be that Peter Parker / Spider-Man goes through this time around? And I kind of like what they're selling here. So this comes to us from Alex P, who works at the Cosmic Circus, that has been a reliable outlet that gets a lot of Marvel stuff right. And they were recently doing a Q&A on some of the stuff they know about Marvel, and they let out this detail about Spider-Man 4 that lets us know where Peter Parker is headed. So he says here, the idea now moving forward is to give him a sense of independence. In his mind, Peter Parker is no more, but Spider-Man lives on. Since he has either lost or detached himself from everyone he's ever loved, all he has to keep him going is being Spider-Man, whether the city loves him for it or not. As the title of Spider-Man continues to consume Peter's life, little by little, Peter will take a back seat and continue to fade from existence slowly. This story point can be compared to Robert Pattinson's Batman in The Batman. Okay, so obviously with this stuff, we do got to take it with a grain of salt. I'm believing reliable sources, but Just taking that and picturing that's what they could be doing in this Spider-Man film, I love it. Where did we last see Peter and Spider-Man in the last movie? It's Peter Parker basically doesn't exist. Anyone that did know him has completely forgotten his identity. He's got no friends, he's got no love interest, he has no family. And us Spider-Man fans are cheering, going, yes, that's the broken, depressed Spider-Man I want. He's just like me for real. Us Spider-Man fans, we need therapy sometimes, don't we? So with Peter Parker having a non-existent life, it only makes sense that he would dive into being Spider-Man as much as possible, wearing the costume a lot, fighting crime, whether the city loves him or hates him. J. Jonah Jameson is still out there spewing a bunch of hate towards Spider-Man. I doubt that's really gonna stop, and it might divide the city on how to feel. That would also work with the storyline of Kingpin trying to turn the city against heroes and outlaw vigilantes. So it looks like the arc Peter would have to go through in this movie is realizing he can have both. He can balance his life. He can both be Peter and Spider-Man. He doesn't have to completely give up one identity, because going down a rabbit hole where he completely forgets who Peter Parker is, fades off that persona, that's not healthy for the guy. And you also can't tell me, reading that kind of description, does it not also set up perfectly him to get the black symbiote? We don't know if he's getting the black symbiote in this movie. I'd like to believe there's an idea of that, because they did tease the black symbiote now being in Peter's world, but this is common in the Spider-Man universe. They tease something and we might not see it come to fruition for several movies later, like Scorpion or Who Bought Avengers Tower. Haven't seen Scorpion, don't know who bought Avengers Tower yet. So don't expect that symbiote to show up for another like 2 movies maybe. But this kind of mindset and having the black suit on him would be perfect. Even that comparison to Robert Pattinson's Batman, that's what that movie was. He was Batman 90% of the time, 10% of the time Bruce Wayne. I even want to point out this little fan theory I saw that I think could go perfect with Zendaya coming back into Spider-Man's world. With this mutual of mine says, I bet Peter Parker will be a complete bum by the time we see him in Spider-Man 4, devoting himself to nothing but crime fighting. I think the movie will end with him realizing he's allowed to have a life, and that's when he'll apply for college. And something like that is what I would love to end up happening. Him going to college, still realizing, hey, I can still have my own life. I deserve some sort of happiness. And who's to say he doesn't go to the college where Ned and MJ are? Setting up, he's gonna attempt to rebuild that friendship with them. But we'll have to wait and see on that. You know, Sony does what Sony does. They either put out a great banger or they disappoint us miserably. It's rarely ever an in-between, right? And well, on that subject, part of the rumors were that Kevin Feige did not want Jon Watts to come back as the director for Spider-Man. And even though Sony really wanted Jon Watts back, it looks like Kevin Feige's gonna get his way, because part of the report of when the movie's looking to be filmed did include one name for a director that Sony's looking into, and that's Justin Lin. If you're not too familiar with Justin Lin, he directed a lot of the Fast and Furious movies, some of the best ones and even some of the worst ones. This name also makes sense because I believe Justin Lin is supposed to make the live-action One Punch Man movie for Sony, so they already have a built-in relationship there. And look, obviously when you hear the director of Fast and Furious wants to make a Spider-Man movie, you hit the eject button. You go, no, Sony, you're messing up here. Don't do that. But just because Justin Lin is famous for Fast and Furious, I don't think that's the only thing he knows how to create. I wouldn't say I would be happy and over the moon if he got the job, but I'm open to it just because I want some more visual pizzazz in my Spider-Man movies, man. Jon Watts ended up pulling a miracle for Sony. Not only did he make critically successful Spider-Man movies, he made financially successful Spider-Man movies, but there is something about when I watch those movies, I rarely ever feel that magic spark I would see sometimes in the Tobey or Andrew films. Sometimes it's in the swinging scenes or even just the charm of Spider-Man himself. Don't get me wrong, he does come out with a banger scene here and there. The visuals with Mysterio in the second movie, I absolutely love that one moment in Homecoming where Spider-Man is under rubble and he's trying to get out of that. That looked amazing, but it was always only moments. I want a whole Spider-Man movie that has that visual awe. So again, I'd be open to Justin Lin, but let me hear a couple other names and we'll see who they end up picking. While at the same time, I'm fully aware of just having visual awe doesn't mean your movie is going to be great. Look at The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I mentioned I really like that movie. I think visually it's the best looking Spider-Man movie ever made, but it is also one of the most flawed Spider-Man movies out there, so it's a balance, right? You pick and choose. As always, it's just nice to talk about Spider-Man 4, so I pass it on to you guys. You see all these details, all these things we're hearing. Any director names you would throw out there that think would be great? Anything and everything, be sure and like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care, Spider-Man fans.